What's up, you guys? It's Low Beauty Demon, and we are here today with more Gabbie Hanna BS. As we all know, Gabbie Hanna has her whole series, and I have been unfortunately watching it. And I want to talk about at least the first part of it today in this video. So if you want to see more about that, please stay tuned. And if you like the video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. And before we get into any of this, I want to say these are just my thoughts, my opinions, based on everything that I am seeing on the internet. Please do not give anybody any hate or negativity based on anything that I say, and please be respectful as well. Now let's get into this whole exacerbating series that Gabbie Hanna's put out, because it is a doozy and it's not even done. So what I'm gonna do is I'm splitting it up into parts. So today I'm gonna talk about the preface and the first 4 episodes, and then I'm gonna be talking about the 2 Trisha Paytas and the Jessie Smiles episode after this, and then I don't know what's happening after that because that's all that's come out so far. This whole thing so far has been incredibly draining. I thought that I might do just like one kind of like update every episode, but it really quickly spiraled out of control. So I'm gonna talk about the preface first. Is like a 15-minute intro to kind of tell us what her reasoning was behind all of this. She never planned to, well, anyway, she wasn't sure if she was going to be posting this. She found it very cathartic, if you will. My words, not hers. She says these are just her smoking a J and ranting about whatever scandals she's gone through and her thoughts and feelings and whatever. And just like right off the bat, I was like, wait, she's going to be like smoking weed on camera? Aren't like other channels that just talk about it like getting demonetized and like shut down? And here's Gabbie Hanna with like 5 million followers and a ton of them are minors. So she's just doing drugs on her channel? I'm confused. I mean, that's privilege for sure. Like I said, this was very cathartic for her. It helped her process years of trauma, and she, quote, learned more than she did in years of therapy. And I don't know about you guys, but I've done a lot of therapy and stuff like that, and I know a lot of other people who have. And therapy is not just sitting down on a couch and talking to people. That does work well for a lot of people. There are other different types, but really like the overall arcing theme of therapy is to help teach you the tools that you need to process trauma. Sure, sometimes that kind of tools to help you vent it out in a journal or in like a video journal and stuff like that, but it doesn't usually include posting it publicly, especially to the millions of people that follow you plus, or sending that person the journal that you made about it. She doesn't have the proper tools to process the trauma, which we'll see soon enough, because as we go into the series and as she continues to post each episode, she and everyone around her just get completely triggered constantly. So this series is going to be her going through all of her receipts and recalling her memories about those situations, which to me kind of makes it seem like she doesn't fully remember those situations, because she does even say these were memories that she was trying to forget. So that already kind of clouds your judgment a little bit, because then you can't remember exactly what happened. And I'm wondering how much she relied on these receipts and text messages to recall the memories, or if a lot of it is just like that and emotion and she doesn't remember everything that actually happened. But also, let's be honest, Gabbie Hanna lacks any self-awareness, so even if she did have a full, complete memory of the situation, the fact that she has no self-awareness just means she would not even understand the situation anyway. She also legit admits to actually keeping these receipts because she felt like she would have to go back and prove things later, which is just like, I don't know, like I don't know about you guys, but I don't really feel the need to like keep receipts of messages and stuff that I have with my friends and whatnot, because I just don't. I don't know. I just don't know if normal people have to feel the need to do that. And I guess I am saying that Gabbie Hanna is abnormal, because everything that she justifies in this is just like kind of weird to me. And then falling back onto her ADHD diagnosis, throwing up some shots of like different parts of ADHD diagnosis in adult women. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. I've known people who are in their adult life who are diagnosed with ADHD, and it was never an excuse for some of the behavior, but she's trying to lay the foundation for that stuff now in this before we actually get into the series. She is letting everything just, slide off her back, which I I don't know if she's aware that this series is being posted or not. And then even says that somebody has taken over all of her social media. So somebody else is posting these shitty tweets and these super cringy, weird TikToks. Ooh. There were a few other things that I found interesting. One, she mentions that ever since she got dial-up internet in her home, she pretty much just lived online. And that is pretty apparent, to be honest. She's not really good at socializing personally in the real world, as we'll see throughout this series. She's always been on the internet. So yeah, I don't know. I would agree with it. It's very telling when she says this kind of stuff. I don't think she really understands the full scope of what she's actually revealing about herself. Then she does go into her record deal that she, in the BuzzFeed article, she blamed losing this record deal on Trisha Paytas. She's also blamed losing this record deal on various scandals that have been reported on in drama channels. But in this video here, she actually says that she got the record deal. They bought her whole back catalog. They bought it because it was a pop album and they liked her pop music. And then she made a rock album, and to them it was too metal. She didn't think it was metal, and I agree that it's definitely not metal. I would consider what she's doing right now like adult alternative. If you've ever heard adult alternative, you know exactly what I mean. It's like aged out emos. And they asked her to make a pop album or like pop version of what she did, and she declined. She said no. She said no to the record deal. She released her album independently because she always saw herself doing it, so she wanted to do it that way. So it wasn't Trisha Paytas, it wasn't other drama channels, it wasn't, she said no. So she's been going in all this other stuff, all these other different platforms and blaming it on everybody else, but when it came right down to it, it was her doing. I don't know if she like remembers the stuff that she says sometimes or if she just totally forgets it. This series is a big result of her feeling unheard in a lot of situations. To be quite frank, really, sometimes the most mature thing is for you to be quiet and listen to what other people are saying to you and really take it in. And don't even respond right away if it's really going to take you time to really process what another person is saying. And Gabbie just completely lacks any maturity in that sense. And I think it's because, like she said, she grew up on the internet, so she really didn't learn how to maturely interact with people. And if people keep having issues with you or the similar issues, yeah, you are the common denominator. And I know she changed her Twitter name to that recently to be facetious or whatever, but it's the truth. She is the common denominator in all of these problems. And I'm gonna go through these videos. I'm not gonna do an intense breakdown of them like I'm doing here, but some of them I am. So you'll understand when I get through it. So she also says that she wants channels to make videos about her. So here you go, Gabbie. Being dramatic and problematic and concerning in recent months has made her feel more powerful. That is super alarming to me. That is a straight up villain, like, for sure. If she could choose, she would rather people love and adore her. So why doesn't she put the work into that? Why don't you try to be that person that people love and adore? She's not making any effort. In fact, this literal series is working in the exact opposite of that statement. Doesn't want to be famous. Then stop. Just stop posting. Stop posting, stop tweeting, stop doing live streams, stop doing TikToks, stop making music. Just stop being famous. It wouldn't be that hard for somebody like Gabbie Hanna to just drop out of the media. Move out of LA, stop posting on social media like that. You could move back to your hometown, you could move anywhere. Her plan was originally to quit in 2018, but drama is what kept her around. She wanted to go out on like a high note. What she really means is that her pride and ego is what kept her here because she wanted to continue to, look better, essentially. She didn't want them to win and for it to look like they chased her off the internet. Does acknowledge that she's never gonna win though, in any situation, but that even a win is gonna be a loss. That's her words. She says, even in a situation, a win is a loss. Her pride is straight up driving this entire debacle. So I think after this series, she said she's gonna leave YouTube, which I think means she's just canceling the fuck out out of herself, but she still plugs this other vlog channel and she doesn't even know its name. She plugged it at the beginning of the video. She had no idea what it was called. You don't even know your own channel's name. Like, oh my God. She does expect that this series is gonna ruffle a lot of feathers and a lot of people are gonna come out with their side of the story. So this was her expectation. People are gonna come out with the story, and then she attacks people for the reactions that she expected, and she works to paint them as the villain. Is that not gaslighting? Is that not gaslighting? You know exactly what's gonna happen when you provoke somebody, but you still do it to provoke them. I'm not saying people's reactions are necessarily right in the situations that she provokes, like we'll see, you know, in a few minutes, but it doesn't mean that she is any less right over them. Let's just get into it. So the first episode is the Ricegum episode, and this is a perfect example of that. Two wrongs in this situation don't lead to anybody being right. So in this situation, and I went back and I did watch these Snapchats at this party where she saw Ricegum and she said that he hit her, he smashed her phone because she was Snapchatting him. In the Snapchat, she challenged him to a rap battle. And at first he was like playful with her, but then she brought up, oh, you don't want to rap battle me because you don't have your ghostwriter. And his entire face and demeanor changed. And then in the next Snapchat, she was very upset that he had hit her, he broke her phone. It became a big thing where everybody laughed at her for it. And she does say in this vlog that she filed a police report and things like that. And I started to feel bad for Gabbie Hanna. I really did. I can understand what happened. Now, in this situation, she did come into it antagonistic though. She came in and she antagonized Ricegum. I don't like Ricegum, like, at all. And his reaction to grab her phone, which I do think when he grabbed her phone, he probably did hit her. She was probably fighting back, you know, to get him off of her. He probably did hit her. It still doesn't make what she did right or what he did right. Neither of those people were in the right in that situation. She thought she could come in and be like that in person when I feel like he was dropping his Ricegum persona. Maybe I'm misreading the situation wrong, but I do feel like she did not deserve to be physically assaulted in any way, and he should not have broke her phone or her property. She did go into that and antagonize him in the first place though. And I think that does go back to what I said about Gabbie Hanna not having self-awareness, because she doesn't understand how antagonistic that is. To go up to somebody who, I'm pretty sure some of Ricegum's songs have gone like platinum. So whatever ghostwriter is working for him, his videos and views are getting more than yours. So I don't know what she has to like shit on him for. I mean, I do. Ricegum is terrible. I don't like him. But to sit down and roast somebody like that when I don't even think like any of his close friends could roast him like that, let alone publicly roast him like that on Snapchat for like hundreds of thousands of millions of people to see, like that wouldn't fly. So I don't know what she thought exactly was gonna happen with that. Like I said though, I do not condone his actions. He shouldn't have gotten physical with her, and he 100% should not have destroyed her property. It just breaks down the whole thing, and that she did file like a police report, but then because it became this huge laughing stock on social media, she didn't feel like she could follow through with it, which I get the whole I can't follow through with the ridicule and everything. And I started to feel bad for her. She actually started to break down and started to cry, and I started to feel sympathy for Gabbie Hanna. But almost immediately, whenever you feel sympathy for Gabbie Hanna, she flips the script really quick and it just all fades away. So I'm feeling sympathetic for her. She's bawling her eyes out, like almost ugly crying. And then she starts like maniacally laughing and then quickly recaps the entire situation laughing, and then says that she's not sorry. She's not sorry for her role in that situation. What the fuck was all that about? So here I am feeling sympathetic for you, and I assume part of this series is her taking accountability and responsibility for her role in some of the shit that she's done and been a part of. And then she says she's just not sorry when she antagonized the entire situation. She does say, quote, "You want me to be a better person, but you won't let me be. If you feel that people are stifling you from becoming the person you want to be, well, to be honest, don't let that happen. I know that is easier said than done, but you've hired somebody to take care of your social media, so stop posting on all of it. Stop using all of it. I know the hate and harassment that Gabbie Hanna endures is pretty vile and disgusting, and I'm assuming extremely difficult to deal with, but she is a social media person now. She doesn't need to handle that stuff. But I think from this Ricegum situation, it really shaped how she handled any other situations moving forward, which is not in a good way. Okay, episode 2 is the call out to drama channels. So this episode is called Holding Tea Channels Accountable, Justice for Bianca Devins. And I don't really want to talk about this episode very long. I think everything that happened around this was just so insane and toxic and vile and disrespectful on multiple levels that I do not want to relay this, because a huge part of why I didn't get the first bit of this out sooner was because all of this was going down on Twitter and social media and then on YouTube, and it was just way too much to take in and absorb, and it felt really vile. I did make like 2 tweets. I deleted one. Mostly they were about like, why is Gabbie Hanna, I think the one I deleted was about like, why is Gabbie Hanna sharing screenshots? It was like a retweet of a Cat 10 barge. The other one I left up, I think that one says something like, I think it's weird that Gabbie is looking for validation with this strange family she doesn't know, and her own family isn't out here like sticking up for her, really. That was, I think, the other one. But after this video, I'm just done. I don't want to talk about this anymore. I will also be putting the link for the scholarship fund down below, and I will be donating money from this video to that once I figure out how AdSense works, because I don't know how that works yet. I'll figure it out. The vlog in the first half, she's talking about her ADD. That's what it really focuses on. She's got this assessment, and you see her going through this like ADD manic episode of her trying to get like everything done and stuff. It's very personal and open, and I can see why people connect with her and feel like they can trust her, because she literally just shares the most embarrassing and repulsive stuff about herself. And it's like she doesn't hide anything. She doesn't hide anything. And I think that's part of the problem, is she doesn't keep any part of herself private in any way, shape, or form. And now that she has an OnlyFans, like it's really like 100% everybody knows everything about Gabbie Hanna. I haven't been to her OnlyFans though, and I don't want to go. I'm not doing that. And then of course the second half of this is just like all the others. She smokes a joint and then she talks about the drama. Backstory about all of this is she posted a video, I think it was a little over a year ago, where she wanted to be an e-girl. And I think, to be honest, in my opinion, this was a careless video. She was just being careless in one part. She included an image in an article about a girl that had been the victim of a violent crime. She went back and blurred the image. I think in her initial video that got everybody upset, she was just careless, and she posted a heartfelt apology and people accepted it. But then she made this and said they were continuing to use this person's name and images, and people were contacting the family and sending them images and things of this, and it was just vile and disgusting. And the rant she went on and the tirade, it was a lot. And then it released this entire shitstorm on Twitter where other drama channels were chiming in, and then it culminated to a point to where Angelica Oles, who was specifically singled out by Gabbie Hanna, actually reached out to the victim's mother and tried to get verification of to what was going on, and it just became too much. And I don't want to spend a lot of time in this. I really don't. Honestly, I'm just gonna read this comment that I left to you on Tea Time's video about this whole Angelica Oles versus Gabbie Hanna because of this video situation, because I think it sums it up perfectly. And then I just want to quickly move on from this, because I feel like dwelling on any of this is just really disrespectful to the victim and the family, who are just trying to make change and also have a good memory attached to their daughter. The comment I left was, I think this has gotten way out of control and has allowed Gabbie to be able to deflect all of the crappy behavior she has shown. However, Angelica should have left the victim's mother alone. It made it even uglier. If Angelica wanted to look better than Gabbie, she should have taken a note out of Ready to Glaire's book and took the L and gave a heartfelt apology, or make a statement that she will not respond out of respect. Because I mean, honestly, if this was me, I would say I'm just not gonna respond out of respect. Just feel like every bit of this has just been so disrespectful, and it just needs to stop. This has gotten too messy. It's hurt a lot of people, and it's draining. It's made this entire thing emotionally draining to see and to watch. and to try and take notes about. I just couldn't. When I went back to watch this, I just couldn't even watch this video again. It was just too much, you guys. It was just too much. And even Gabbie Hanna's fans were on her Twitter begging her to stop with all of this, that this was just going too far, because then she was reaching out to the mother and she was posting screenshots, and it just broke my heart for the family that they're having to go through this again, and it just keeps resurfacing. So I'm done. That's it. Second episode, horrible episode, not received well by me or anybody involved. I don't even think Gabbie Hanna liked it, let's be totally honest. And chapter 3 was titled "To the People I've Heard, Past Problematic Content." This focused on any of her racially charged content from the past, any jokes that she had made. She kind of went through a few specific ones and said, you know, she probably has like other tweets and stuff out there. She does also talk about some jokes that she made and how now she looks back and she's like, oh, it's really disgusting. I can't believe I thought like that. But I was a product of the people I was hanging around with, being like, she doesn't say it, but like Shane Dawson and like the Vlog Squad, and how like weird all those people are because one of them dates like a teenage girl, or did, and now I don't know. Anyway, I did feel like this was something that was genuinely from the heart from Gabbie, that it's something that she's been trying to, and she does say this, that it's something that she's been trying to address for a while and feels guilty that kind of content still is out there. And I do applaud her for that. This apology is not for me though, so I'm not here to accept it or anything. This was a very short video. I do appreciate that she left out the whole vlog thing before, because the seriousness of this, but then it makes me think, like, does she not take some of this other stuff seriously? Like the episode before with the call to drama channels, she had a whole vlog before that, then she posted her rants of the channels about what happened. I don't know. I said I was going to drop it, so I'm done, but it does put like that whole vlog before everything into perspective for me a little bit. Then she jumps into Escape the Night season 4. And basically this video is a call out video at everybody involved, but pretty much Joey Graceffa and Daniel Prada, who this is their show. It is a YouTube original show, but it was Joey's show and Daniel was like an unwritten executive producer, and he basically was Gabbie Hanna's babysitter. And she does bring up the Kenza brush debacle as well, which she handled that poorly. For her to tell her subscribers to manage their expectations when their expectations are you're not gonna be scamming your fans. She felt really betrayed by Joey and Daniel because she really thought that they were friends. She goes back to season 2 because she was on season 2 first and she didn't like doing it, but she still agreed to do season 4 because she said that they begged her to do it, which both Joey and Daniel later were like, we did not beg her to do this. And I think Daniel even shows a lot of screenshots in his video that this was not them begging at all. She shows a screenshot of something that I think she's like a gotcha thing on Daniel Prada, which is him asking her for what her snack list is, and she says healthy shit. But if you are gonna be on a set and somebody asks you for a list of items that they want, you don't just get to say something broad like healthy shit. They want to have specifics. And Daniel shows in his video he got a wide variety of healthy stuff. They had fresh fruits, fresh vegetable trays, they had fresh little kale chips and all kinds of like healthy stuff, and she still chose to eat the junk food when she did want to eat. She said that they never had food available, and she once again shows a text message of him asking what she wanted from Whole Foods and her wanting a specific kind of salad, and the just sheer entitlement of her when it comes out from Rosanna and Joey and Daniel that she was supposed to be filling out sheets of what kind of food she wanted to bring brought in every day. She didn't fill any of this out. She was supposed to be filling out medical things. She never filled those out until the first day. And there's actual behind the scenes footage that was posted online that I've seen of her filling out that stuff the day of. What? Everybody else fills that out beforehand, so that's why they never had proper food brought in for her like everybody else, because she didn't do the shit that she was supposed to do on time. This is an actual job. This was not just like a little cute video that some of her friends were putting together. This was a YouTube original show, and it had millions of dollars behind it. And she's done a season of this already, so she knows what this is about. She complained about her costume like not fitting right and being too cold, and like her shoes being uncomfortable. And then, of course, we come to find out from multiple sources that she didn't show up to 2 fittings she was supposed to be at. And to top it off, a wardrobe stylist who was apparently 9 months pregnant went all the way to her recording studio and she left early, or maybe even stood her up. I don't know. I've heard conflicting things from people. But Daniel Prada even showed in his video multiple messages from producers, and I'm just flabbergasted that she just like completely negates all of that. It goes back to what I said earlier. Gabbie Hanna just looks at her text messages and her receipts and she's like, yep, that's how that happened. They didn't take care of me. She kind of forgets that she skipped out on all the other opportunities to make sure that what she needed and what she wanted was available to her. By the way, YouTube was being super shady and they actually recommended the behind the scenes video from that season of Escape the Night. So I watched it and I found this very interesting little clip that I did share to Twitter. And the question they were asking everybody was, who would you be most afraid of double crossing you? And this is what a lot of the cast had to say.
Gabbie, I think.
Probably Gabbie. I'd be afraid to double cross Gabbie.
Oh my God, Gabbie. She would literally murder me with her own hands right then and there.
I would not want to double cross myself.
And then she ends this episode with the words, "You can both hurt and be hurt. Apologies more often than not should be mutual." I'm not really sure I ever heard her apologize to Joey and Daniel. She admits that she was a bitch on set, but she downplays it a lot because I don't think that she is really aware of how awful she made life on set. So Joey Graceffa and Daniel Prada both made videos. Joey's was about 15 minutes, and I'll be honest, I don't really watch either one of them, and I've never watched Escape the Night, but both of these men are so fucking beautiful. You know what? I think I might actually go subscribe to them because I just really enjoyed looking at them. They're just beautiful people. And I heard that Daniel does decorating content, and I need some lighthearted content after watching all of this. Okay, so Joey's came out first because it was a 15-minute video. He put it up really quick. First of all, Joey's video has over 2 million views when I made this, and Gabbie's video about this had like over 200,000. Kind of funny how that worked out. He gives a spoiler right away. Gabbie was the nightmare, and Escape the Night is why he and Gabbie are not friends anymore. How she acted on set and how she acted afterwards made him not want to be her friend anymore. He goes on to say she made life a living hell on set. She yelled at production staff. She made fellow cast members uncomfortable. And she even called a production assistant a dumb c***. He calls out her mental health issues. That's not an excuse. That's not, you don't get to use that to get what you want. And for her to throw in his face, like, I can't believe it, we were friends. He said, Gabbie, this isn't how friends act. You don't act like this on a professional set, and you sure as hell don't act like this on your friend's professional set. He does say he's not going to have any footage or anything in here. He's going to try and go back and get raw footage so people can see just how terrible Gabbie was behind the scenes. But really, in his video, he's not relying on receipts. He's relying on the testimony of other people that were there. And I applaud him for that. Once again, that just kind of shows in my mind that Gabbie doesn't really remember what actually happened. She remembers bits and pieces that were very emotional for her. She's remembering the emotions, and then she's filling a lot in with her receipts and her text messages. Gabbie did call out that he would talk about her in interviews, and he said, I never once said your name. People figured out that it was you because of your past actions, because of what you put out in the world. And he makes a good point. When friendships end, you don't have to hold your feelings in. He didn't have an NDA on his friendship, so he could talk about his feelings freely if he wanted. Basically, he just calls her entitled and completely delusional. Half of the cast had ADHD and no one else acted like this. And Joey does defend his ex, Daniel, because Daniel had to work so closely with Gabbie to appease her. And in just 3 days, it sounds like it was a living hell. She also approved her costume. She just didn't come to the fitting, so of course it wasn't gonna fit right. Shows multiple emails that Daniel does also show in his video that we're gonna talk about in a minute too. And after day 2, 2, she refused to come back to set because of the fight, and Daniel had to beg. And it got to a point where they were contacting Gabbie's manager because they were having such a hard time dealing with her. And the manager said basically that after this project, they were gonna be leaving her too. I mean, I don't blame them. Joey, the director, producers, they all decided that they needed to get rid of Gabbie. They needed to kill her off. She, spoiler alert, has a double death with Tana Mojo. And Tana's death was legitimate. They had already planned that they had to kill her off because she had an event that she had to go to. But they decided they had to get rid of Gabbie to actually just make the set like livable again. And it's interesting that he talks about just how the energy changed afterwards and how much better everybody felt, actual physically better once she was gone, because Gabbie was the toxicity. And of course he placated her because he's a producer in a multi-million-dollar production and she is acting like some total bratty diva. He can't let his production fall apart because of what she's doing. So yeah, he's gotta like placate her and be fake. But she was being a shitty friend. Joey Graceffa also echoes what Trisha Paytas has said a lot, and is that Gabbie Hanna is scary. That's why people just apologize or make up with her, because they're scared of her. In Daniel Prada's video, his video is an hour long and it really goes into the complete struggle that he had to deal with. He shows a lot of the behind the scenes trailer, which she complained about hanging out in, and Joey even says like, oh, I'm sorry you had to hang out in this trailer and get paid thousands of dollars an hour to do nothing. And yeah, she's just super entitled in that instance. Daniel shows all the healthy snacks that they got. Then he also shows specific receipts of when they had to come back and do promotional shoots, and Gabbie was gonna be late. And when these are large group production shoots, you have to be there. Plus, this is a contractual thing. She signed a contract. So Daniel actually shows he reached out to another producer friend who then got in contact with the head of YouTube marketing, who then actually had to reach out to Gabbie Hanna's lawyer and her manager to ensure that she showed up to the job that she was legally, contractually obligated to show up. So yeah, no wonder their friendship collapsed after this, because they literally had to contact Gabbie's attorney to make her show up for a job. And what's also funny to me is last year, she was complaining that YouTube shadow banned her and she couldn't find her channel when she searched. This was a YouTube original production. I don't remember if it was Joey, I think it was Daniel, that said when you're on a YouTube original show, you get put into a different algorithm because at that point, you're kind of like a face of YouTube, and they didn't want to keep pushing her, so they probably hit her as much as they could. So yeah, no wonder YouTube shadow banned her. She was a bad look for them, and unfortunately she was in this YouTube original show that they were pushing out. I would do the same thing. Daniel describes at that point he was in literal tears. Gabbie Hanna drove a grown man, a trained professional, because Daniel Prada isn't just a YouTube vlogger. He is a real producer. This is his job. This is what he does. And she drove him to literal tears. And this was also her friend. Daniel Prada's video, is called The Truth About Gabbie Hanna. Daniel Prada even says, look, I have ADHD, I have depression, I have anxiety, and he fucking managed that whole thing, and he also managed to handle Gabbie Hanna. Daniel even makes mention that he and Joey actually spent money out of their own pockets on the trailers and all the snacks, because they wanted it to be an amazing, exceptional experience, because yes, these people were their friends, but this was still a professional thing, and they wanted it to be a really memorable experience. So that's just like another slap in the face from Gabbie, because they're literally taking money out of their own pockets to appease you, and you're being this way. And every single person on the set had a problem. All the hair, makeup, the cast, the crew. Daniel even makes mention of another female cast member that came up to him and Joey on day one and asked to be killed off because Gabbie Hanna was making them uncomfortable. Actually talks about how at the production shoot, they just cut her early because they just needed her to go and they wanted to have a last joyful experience. And in part of the shoot, they actually used this person who was even a stand-in for Gabbie Hanna because they just cut her early and they just didn't want to deal with her shit anymore. So I think the big takeaway from all of this so far is Gabbie Hanna drama, just wants drama. She can say that she wants to be loved and adored. She doesn't. She wants the focus on any way that she can get it, and she sees that the drama is the best way. Unfortunately, if you look at her channel, it's not really getting her the views that she wants. Looking at like Joey and Daniel's video, they're in the millions of views now, and her videos are just barely breaking like 300 and 400K. I don't get how somebody can sign a contract for a multi-million-dollar production and then act like that and not want to show up to their job and try and get them to reschedule and tell them you're going to show up 2 hours late because you have a gym appointment. The entitlement is just overwhelming. So the first part of the Gabbie Hanna series was a shit show. The second part has gotten even worse. It just continues to get darker and darker, in my opinion. And it just shows that Gabbie Hanna, I don't know what is missing, what she's not seeing, what she's not understanding. I just don't get it. Unless this is some grand scheme to just completely cancel herself and that's how she's gonna leave the internet. But I can't understand what she thought was gonna come from this. No good was gonna come from this series. I hope that she has people around her that are taking care of her. But she did actually reveal at the beginning of this that her and her boyfriend have broken up. I don't know. I feel like she is increasingly working to isolate herself and kind of like turn herself into the victim. It's just a really hard situation to watch, honestly, you guys. Like, when I was writing this script, she dropped the Jessie Smiles video, and it was at a moment where I was actually feeling like, wow, I totally understand like what she's feeling in the situation, and I felt really bad for her, or I like empathized with her in like some way. And then I got an alert on my phone and I saw that it was that video, and I was like, oh dear Lord. It doesn't matter. She's always able to ruin any time there's any ounce of sympathy for it. So that was my reaction to the first part of the Gabbie Hanna series. I will be doing more reactions, and then once the whole series is out and I've done all my reactions, I'll kind of do like a little wrap up and give like my full honest opinion of everything. I don't know how many parts are going to be to this, because I thought she was posting every day, but then she's taking time off, and then like shit happens, and who knows when this will end. But I will have a part 2 coming out soon that will be covering the 2 Trisha Paytas episodes and the Jessie Smiles insanity. Check out my Twitter. I sometimes post on Instagram. You can check me out there too. Guys, that is it for today's video. If you liked it, please don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the bell notification icon so you get notified every time I post a video. I do not have a regular upload schedule, so it's very helpful for you. And I will see you next time. Laters.